Hello, and welcome to another episode on my channel. I'm Sir Timotheus, and this is my channel. Today is going to be a different kind of video. I'm not sure exactly where I want to go with this channel, and that's all well and good, because I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. So, today is going to be something different. I'm a vocal major, and I have been taking lessons for a few years now. I like to think of myself as pretty proficient in my singing abilities. Now, today, I'm going to get to the point of what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you and teach you some techniques to help improve your singing. Now, these are applicable to all ranges. I mean, if you've never had a voice lesson, if you just started, if you're well along your way in learning, or if you've mastered your techniques. Well, if you've mastered your techniques, obviously, what I'm saying you already know. But what I'm going to show you are some things that I've learned from different instructors over the years, and just some different things that have helped me and helped many people I know. So, let's get started. One thing that we're going to have to do, normally I'm sitting down right now, but whenever you do warm up your voice, or whenever you do practice, you want to stand up, you want to stand tall, you want to stand with your chest out, your shoulder back, your shoulders back, your chin up, and you want to just be very prominent. But as of right now, here, I'm going to readjust the camera. As of right now, I don't have a way really to record myself whilst standing. So I'm going to do it the best way I can. But again, whenever you're warming up with your voice or anything, but especially your voice, you want to be standing straight, you want to be standing tall, because if you're not, then you lack that air support. You're working too hard, and your vocal cords are working too hard trying to create the sound. So, number one thing I want to do, and the thing I always start out with whenever I'm practicing, is I do some breathing exercises. Yes, I breathe. That's the first thing I do. You think, well, I breathe all the time. That's, probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No. It's the way that you breathe. It's the way that you support the air that you're taking in, and it's the way you take in the air, and then it's the way you support it going out. It's the control you have whenever you're breathing out and whenever you're singing. Because the mistake a lot of singers make, and the mistake that I used to make, and I still make sometimes, is to use too much air when you're singing, and or use too little. Because if you're using too much air, you're going to be taking breaths too often, and you're going to have a really airy tone. But if you're using too little air, your sound's not going to be supported. You're not going to sound anywhere near what you want to. So, what I do, and what I would recommend that you do, you can do whatever works for you. This is just what works for me. What I do is I take a full measure, 4-beat measure at about 4 counts, and I take a breath in for that long, and then I breathe out for 4 counts, and I do that 4 times. Then I breathe in for 4 counts, then I breathe out for 8 counts, and I do that 4 times, and so on and so forth. You can see a pattern. I mean, breathe in for 4 counts, breathe out for 16 counts, go on. You can do it. I mean, if you really wanted to be ambitious, it's kind of unnecessary to do this, but if you really wanted to be ambitious, you could go breathe in for 4 counts, breathe out for 64. If you can do that, you deserve like a cookie or something, because I personally don't want to try. I might be able to do it, but I don't want to try to do that. Now, I'm not going to do all the way to 16 or do it 4 times or whatever. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do it. I'm going to do 2 examples of the breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do each of those twice. Uno, dos. I don't know how to count in German or French or Italian or anything, but I will. Anyway, so you breathe in for 4. Now notice, whenever you're breathing, you don't move your chest. You don't move your chest, because whenever you're moving your chest, that shows that you're not using the space properly. You breathe in and you expand your diaphragm, and what I tell everybody, especially people who have never done it before, is whenever you're breathing, you want to breathe in and you want to make yourself fat. That's the easiest way I can explain it. So you want to breathe in and make yourself fat. So here we go. I'll do it one more time. Now I'm going to do it for 8 counts, and watch how I change my embouchure. Watch how I change my mouth, and watch how and listen to how, if you can't hear it, I don't know how good the audio is, but listen to how the speed of air changes. So breathe in for 4. And I still had a ton of air left over. So it's not, if you control the air, you're not going to run out of air anytime soon. So, and I'm going to do it one more time and watch again, and just notice how. And one other thing is, a mistake a lot of singers make is they raise their shoulders. So they go, and that's horrible. I can't tell you how bad that is, because it's such a bad habit to form. Because you're not utilizing your space, and you're trying to puff yourself up, and it also creates tension in the neck, which is a horrible thing, but we'll get to that in another video, or maybe later in this one. I'm not sure. So, again, I'm going to breathe in for 8 counts, and notice how my shoulders don't move and my chest doesn't move. So, and again, I still had plenty of air. So that's some breathing exercise. And again, you can do that as many times as you want, in whatever variations you want. So, next thing I do is what's called a pentascale, or the first 5 notes of a scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the way, whenever you're playing piano, just a quick tip, your fingers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's how they are. And so if you ever look at a piano music that's not actually music, it's just tabs, or if you're taking piano or whatever, and you see those numbers above it, it's either figured bass, which we'll get into later, or it's your finger number. If you see a 6. A general rule is, if you see a 6, that's obviously, or hopefully obviously, not your fingers, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, common sense. So, but anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a pentascale. So we're going to sing starting on do, and we're going to go to so. And if you don't know what I mean by that, we'll get into it later. If you don't know your solfege, just basically sing la 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 along with this. And you can do this starting on any note and going up the scale for 5 notes. So we're going to start on do and go up to so. So Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to explain what I just did. Whenever you are working on just warming up your voice, you're not gonna strain it too much. You're not gonna belt it out. You're not gonna strain your voice, because that's a horrible thing to do. Because it makes your vocal cords work too hard. If they're not warmed up, they're not gonna be ready to belt out your notes. They're not gonna be ready to belt out the high notes. So we'll work on that. But now what I want to, and we're going to keep going, we're going to keep going up and up and up until we get, not to where it's uncomfortable, but to where it's getting a little higher in our register. And, I'm a bass baritone, so I'm going to start on a lower note than some people and a higher note than some people. What I would say is start at the bottom of your tessitura, the range that you're comfortable in, and then go on from there, going to maybe just below the top of your tessitura with that so, because again you don't want to strain your voice. So let's do the next note. Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now, you'll notice that there's a huge difference in my singing voice and my speaking voice. That is because whenever you're just speaking, you're not trying to create space or anything. You're just talking. But when you sing, you're creating more volume than you regularly would. Not by pushing more air, but by creating more space in the throat and raising the soft palate and making the air go, letting the air do what it's naturally going to do if you open that space up. And so what I tell people is just imagine that there's a ping pong ball at the back of your throat and you're trying to make room for that ping pong ball. So you make your voice go from do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, to this, where you open up the space. Do, re, mi, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And I didn't get a good breath on that one. Always be sure to get a good breath. That was horrible hypocrisy of me. But always be sure to get a good breath before you start that pentascale. And it'll make things eons easier for you. But anyway, so you can do that all the way up, and that'll not all the way up your range, because that's going to be horrible for your voice if you're warming up. Now, eventually, you'll be able to do your pentascales and be able to go do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, and so on and so forth up into the stratosphere, and you will be able to amaze everyone. So, I'm going a little long, but that's okay. Not as long as my first video. Next, we are going to do some kind of explosive exercises. It's not really in the diction sense as named plosive. A plosive syllable is like, or a plosive sound is or b, something that's or not b, but something that stops the sound, or t, or something that stops the sound whenever you articulate it. It's something that you make the sound, and the sound is you form the letter or the sound, and your voice is stopped for that second, like plosive. If you are making a sound when you make the p sound, the sound that the letter P makes, I would encourage you to rethink your grammar and your speaking. So now we're going to do those plosives, and when I say that, we're gonna take in a big breath, and it's not supposed to sound pretty. Get that out of your head right now. The first one, you want to make it sound legato, you want to make it sound nice. This one, don't worry about it. The goal here is to work on the support that your diaphragm, or work on the support of your diaphragm, supporting the air. So, excuse me. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna. I'm just gonna show you how it goes. So you take in a big breath, and you go ho 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 ho. Same pentascale. Do re mi fa sol fa mi re do, but you're not doing it the no re mi. You're not doing that. You're just doing. You're doing it. It's kind of in an explosive manner. So we're just gonna do it this way. So you get your back straight, and you're gonna take your big breath in, and then you're gonna not force it out, but you're just gonna really give it a meaty push. So 1, 2, 3. Next. And the point of that, again, is not to make it sound pretty, but to work on your diaphragm, the strength of your diaphragm. Now, if you're sitting there and you sound like then you're not doing it right. You're just damaging your vocal cords, and the point is not to. If you feel pain in your throat, stop. Do not continue, because you're damaging your vocal cords, and either you practice too long, or you have or you practice too long, or you're doing something very wrong. It should never, ever, ever hurt to warm up your voice. Okay? To warm up anything. It should never maybe if you're like sticking your hand on your engine in your car or something, yeah, that would hurt, but I don't know why you would do that. But no, as far as musically, it should never hurt to warm up. Okay? Now, I play trombone as well, so if you're playing trombone and you're working on that, yeah, your lips are going to get tired, but that's not a pain. That's just you're increasing your stamina. So, but don't let it hurt ever. So, now you can do that plosive exercise, that as many times as it takes, and then after that, you're gonna do what's called sirens. And this is gonna sound silly, but literally what you do is this. You go from pretty low note to pretty high note, back down to the pretty low note. That's it. I mean, and you this one's fun, especially if you're alone, because you don't care if anybody's listening or anything. I really don't care if anybody's listening anyway, but you start. And you never let the space go away. If you're going to a point in your higher notes, for your baritones, unless you've been doing it for a while, your high note's probably going to be a D D sharp or E flat or E or an F or something like that. Something that's not too terribly high, but for a baritone it's pretty high. Basses, that's probably going to be about maybe a C, maybe a B, B flat. You know, if you're basso profundo or a really deep bass, your high note is pretty much going to be, or you right quick. Your high note is something that you can work on. Never, ever, ever, ever force the low notes, because you can always work on your high range. You can always, don't push, but always work on your high range. You know, getting it better, getting it higher. You know, and that's just by repetition. With low notes, they're gonna come and as they're gonna come. You can't make low notes happen. I've talked to a number of singers, and they say, "Oh yeah, the other day I was able to squeak out a D or a C sharp or a C," and I'm like, "Okay, but did it feel good?" "Well, no, but I was able to get it." Well, you do not ever want to do that, because if you're going that low and it hurts, and when I say a D, I mean a D2 or there's middle C, and then on the piano, and then there's the octave below that, and then there's the octave below that. That's the C2 range. But if you're going that low and it hurts, then you shouldn't be singing that low, because it's just horrible for your voice. So again, never push in the low range. But like I was saying, you just have to, whenever you're doing those sirens, you just gotta have fun with it. It's one of the most exciting things that you get to do as a singer. Well, not really, but warming up wise, yes, because you just get to kind of yell. Now again, don't ever let the space close. If you're getting to a point where the space is starting to collapse, or you can feel it starting to go away, stop and realize that that's not a note you can hit right now, low end or high end. That's just something that it takes time, and that's not something you should ever force. So, again, for me personally, I go from about an A2, maybe an A flat 2, up to probably an F4, maybe F4, F sharp 4, which isn't a gigantic range. You know, on a good day, I say good day, on a day where my voice decides to be, very low, I can hit like a F sharp, F, E2, all that. That's all well and good, but still, I mean, if it hurts, I never do it. That's just, it's dumb, and it's not always, sometimes it doesn't feel good. Even if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't feel good. So, just use your judgment on that. If it hurts, don't do it. Don't be dumb. Now, you keep doing those sirens for a while, and then after that, you can do, and something that's really cool about those pentascales, right quick, is you can go from, you can have that basic pentascale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, and you can go do, mi, re, fa, sol, do, mi, re, fa, sol. One more try. I'm running on very few hours of sleep. Do, mi, re, fa, mi, sol, fa, ti, do. And you can just have all sorts of variations with that. And so, just, sorry about that. That was a horrible representation the first couple tries. But you can do do, mi, re, fa, mi, sol, fa, ti, do. So, fa, mi, re, do. So, mi, fa, re, mi, do, re, ti, do. Just any combination of them. And you can do, You can do arpeggios with your voice. No mi so do so mi do. One thing I did this past semester in college, a technique I learned to help me warm up. You start on do, you do your major triad, do mi so, and then you slide up to do, top do, and then you go ti do, and then you slide up to the re, and then once you hit re, you do the scale down. So it sounds like this. No mi so do ti do re do ti la so fa mi re do, and that's something that'll really help you support all the way through your range. So yeah, those are a couple of vocal exercises. I plan on getting more of these out. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I really do. I really do appreciate you watching. This is something my life goal is ultimately to teach. And until I have my degrees that I plan to get, this is a way I can do it. This is always a way I can do it, but this is one of the best ways I can do it. And I really appreciate you watching. I need to learn how to speak English after this video, obviously. I need to learn how to do music again. No, but I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Arrivederci.